to another episode of the Small Business Growth Podcast. Here we teach you how to stand out and sell out on social media. So by building a ride or die online community around your brand. Here we like to teach in a fun conversational type of way. We like to say it's kind of like sipping coffee with a biz bestie. So instead of those talk shows, highly scripted episodes, these episodes are more like me and you having a real conversation about this. I'm excited for today's episode. We're talking about the difference between a small business and a brand. Now, this is something that you've heard me talk a lot about if you've listened to my podcast before. I say this a lot. I say this is a small business thing, not a brand thing. And I really like to kind of re-record this episode every once in a while so you can get some updated things that small businesses are doing versus brands. If you're new here, my name is Madison Page. I want to take a second to welcome you. Everybody calls me Maddie, but here we are Madison Page, but you can call me Maddie as well. I am a business growth specialist. I've been in the industry for 8 to 10 years at this point. I've helped hundreds of people build their business, and I'm so happy that you are here as well. If you are not new here, welcome back, girlfriend. I hope you're doing well. Make sure that you guys are subscribed to the podcast, to the channel, no matter where you're listening to it. We are on Spotify, we're on Apple, and we've also transitioned over to YouTube as well. If you want to have a face-to-face conversation with me, head on over to YouTube. It's a good place to listen and watch, whether you're cooking or you're making or whatever. It just feels a little bit more personal. So people have been loving it on over there. So without further ado, let's hop on in to the difference between a small business versus a brand. Now, before we really dive in, I just want to do a total disclaimer. If you're listening to this and you're like, Maddie, you're kind of shitting on me as a small business here, I would just want to say this is the Small Business Podcast. I am all about small businesses, but I like to turn small businesses into brands. There is nothing, if you're like, Maddie, I'm a small business, and honestly, I'm a small business and proud. I don't really want to be a brand. I don't want a legacy behind my business. I don't want this to be where I have a massive team or anything like that. That is okay. That's all right. I'm here for you. I support you. This is not to knock you, but I'm more talking about why I like to, I'm trying to identify the people that really are wanting to build a brand, because those are the people that I really work with. The people that want brands, the people that want legacies, the people that want this to be a longevity thing, that have a lot of the different things we're going to talk about today. I want to work with people that have brands and they want brands, or they want to turn their small business into a brand, or they've been operating as a small business and they realize that means that they're staying small and they're playing small and they're ready to go all in. Those are the type of people that I want to work with. So I want you to be able to identify if you are operating as a small business where you're going to keep it as a side hustle, you're making some supplemental income, or if you want to operate as a brand that is making waves into the industry, is an industry leader, and is really doing things differently than everybody else. And that is really who I like to work with. Why? Because that means that you are actually in it. You're not just in it to make a quick buck. You're in it because you love it and it's what you want to do forever. And so just a disclaimer here, I'm not knocking small businesses. If you're like, Maddie, I'm a side hustler and that's who I want to stay and that's who I want to be, I commend you. There is nothing wrong with that, but I just want to make this distinction here as well, is that there's people that stay small because they're thinking of themselves as a small business, and there's people that can really grow by making this transition into a brand. And so I want to go over some of those things today with you and what we're talking about. So there is, like, you guys know, you've been here, we really see the value behind strategy, we see the value behind community building, and that is really a major difference between a small business or a brand. Now, there's a lot of distinctions out there that I've seen, people going here, people going there, people saying these things, people saying that things, and it's become more and more evident to me when I scroll on Instagram if people think of themselves as a small business or a brand. And people that I have seen that think of themselves as a brand tend to last longer, they tend to grow faster, and they tend to actually be able to make this business a real thing. I'm talking about people that want to be, whether you're in stores or you just want this to be, you want to be making big time dollars in your business. You want this to be full time. You want this to really cut it out. That means that you need to think of yourself as a brand. Would Target do this? Would Anthropologie do this? Would Free People do this? Would Enter Business that you look up to do this in their business? If not, of course, we have to take it with a grain of salt, because some of these people have millions of dollars in marketing budgets and in photo budgets and all of those things, and they have full teams doing it, and it might just be you. And that's okay to operate a brand just as one single person, but you need to think of yourself as having campaigns. You need to think of yourself as having a little bit more structure behind it. So here we work with brands. We work with people that understand the necessity of strategy and they're willing to learn. We work with people that know that it's important to have an ideal customer, because that means that you can build a really strong connection with that one type of person, knowing other people will still come. But this also means that you can have this really tight-knit community with that one ideal customer and not feeling like you want to talk to everybody. They value the brand. They value the visuals. They have those foundations set. They just don't know the execution on social, in content, on their website, in their emails. In order to actually, they need to add a marketing and a sales strategy behind everything that they're doing. Those things always need to be fully taught. Those things don't always need to be fully taught. Sometimes people just naturally very much so value those things, and they've been there and they see it. Maybe they have a marketing degree, maybe they've worked in marketing before, or maybe that's just something that they've heard from the podcast that they know that they need, and they value that. Those are the types of people we're talking to today. So you might be saying, when you're listening to this, which one am I operating as? Maddie, are you about to call me out that I'm operating as a small business when I want to be a brand? I want you to, when you're thinking of this, is, I have a long list of things that are going to be distinction between these two. And I want you to say, yep, I'm a small business there, or yep, I'm a brand there, because what that's going to do is it's going to allow you to start saying, okay, this is where I need to focus. This is where I need to do it. And when I have done this episode in the past, I've had people that literally take a notebook and they write down every one, this versus that, and then they circle it. Kind of like, like the classic, like baby shower game where you like circle which one you think it is. Oh, yep, I'm here. Oh, nope, I'm over there. I think they're going to do this. Same thing, this or that kind of vibe. I want you to pick the small business versus brand. I want you to think, which one am I operating as, and which one do I want to be? Because again, it's okay for you to be small business on some of these, and it's okay for you to be a brand on some of these, or all of these, but you need to identify which one you need to do in order to know what actions you should be taking. So, small businesses, a lot of times, in my mind, the ones that I've seen, they last a few years. They don't really move to trends. Once their product is out of trend, their business kind of goes out as well. They don't adapt well, and they really strongly make the connection on it being handmade, on it being one single person. Whereas a brand is built for longevity. It's built by a deeper meaning. It's built by a deeper community. These people adapt to the market because they want to last, and they're not just here to make a quick buck. They know how to execute these things well because they have a strategy behind them, but also they want this thing to last, so they're going to make it happen. There is a sense of grit around a brand, whereas a small business is a little bit more following the trends here and there. And so we are going to kind of dive into a little bit more exact examples of these things. Why? Because I really want it to be clear to you. Kind of use this as a guided exercise, as if you really like small business, or if you really like to be a brand, which one you're operating as and which one you want to be operating as. So let's get started. Like I said, I have a lot of these. Again, some of them, there's a right and a wrong, but they're not all of them. So I don't want you to think that I'm calling you out and saying that you're behind on all of these things and you have to do all these other things before you can. What I'm here to say is like actually just point out ways that you might be operating as smaller than you want to be. Because a lot of us think of our business as smaller than it is, that when you really do look at it and you're like, no, this thing's got potential, I'm gonna do the dang thing, this is gonna be big. When you really own that and you don't just like pretend to act like you believe that, you actually do believe that, it makes a really big difference. So let's dive into this long list. Small businesses tend to focus on being handmade. They have a really major like handmade focus. I made this. This is made with love. There's really no like stronger feeling around the brand as opposed to like support small. Hey, support small business. Look at how great this small business is. Hey, I made these. Like these are handmade, and they focus a lot on like the actual features of the overall product. It's handmade. It's made with love. Like it's made by a mama, like mama made, teacher made. Those things are all fine and dandy, but brands don't really do that. They focus on a feeling, and they focus on a meaning, and they focus on an overall benefit around their product. They're selling the lifestyle of their product. They aren't just selling that I made this. It's very me focused in the small business world. In the brand focused, you focus on the person that's actually buying it. You're focusing on why would they love it. I think a lot of MLMs operate as a small business. They're like, hey, support me. Hey, buy this stuff. Hey, like I've started my own business. This is really great. I love this product so much, as opposed to how it should be run is a little bit more where this is the product, but what is the lifestyle that I want people to have around it, and the major feeling, and we create that, the major benefit that the product has, the major problem that product is solving, and really focus on that. Brands focus on benefit, feeling, and meaning, whereas small businesses focus on the person that's making it and the process behind making it and things like that. That really comes down to whether or not you're making your business all about you, or you're making your business all about your customer. Ooh, I don't know if I've ever said that in that way out loud, but I really want to focus on that. Are you making your business about supporting you and about why you're making it, and it's mama made and it's teacher made or whatever? Or are you making your business about why this product and why your business and why your community is going to be so beneficial for your audience? Those two things are very big distinctions. Brands focus on feeling. They focus on something bigger than just who's making it and what the product is all about. Brands really trying to make the products last and be a legacy brand, as opposed to small businesses that they're just trying to make a quick buck. A lot of times when I see people operating out of a small business mindset, they are operating from the standpoint of, I'm just here, I'm trying to make some supplemental income. Maybe I'll just make $500 a month. I just want to make a little extra cash. Would love to have $2,000 a month in sales, whereas small brands are here to make this their full-time gig. They're here to make this thing what they want it to last. They want it to be full-time. They want it to be incredible. That is a brand. A brand is here to make it legacy. They're here to make it for longevity, and that's really what a brand looks for. They're not just like, okay, how can I make the quickest dollar? How can I follow the quickest trend? Brands are looking for, how can I stand out? How can I last? How can I make this my full-time thing that never goes away? Brands are thinking long game. Small businesses are thinking right now, what is the money I can make right now? And who cares about 2 to 3 years in the future? I'm just trying to make a couple $1,000s right now. Brands really like to speak to one major group of people. This means, like, if you look at a lot of really big brands that came out, they focus on students, they focus on young girls, they focus on athletes, they focus on people that love to cook, people that are professional X, Y, and Z. People have a very specific on moms, on stay-at-home moms, or athletes or whatever. People that operate a brand understand that it's so important to pick a certain type of person so you can speak to them very consistently and to their problems and to the benefits that they want to have and what that really looks like. Brands really love to build community around that one single person so they can build a community that follows them anywhere. They see the value in focusing on community for longevity, and I'm focusing on this one person for building that community and for longevity, whereas small businesses say, well, anybody could buy my cups, anybody could buy my mugs, or anybody could benefit from having this product. They're not quite seeing the business brain mindset there, that we need to have a more specific person. And a lot of times that comes from not fully understanding that you need to be selling that benefit of your business. Like I just said, that small businesses look at a little bit more as like, well, this is an outlet for me. This is a hobby for me. This is something I am making and I just want people to buy it. Whereas a brand is making this product to solve a problem and a benefit. And so it's the same thing as sometimes you're selling it because, well, everybody could do this. Everybody could use this. Everybody could benefit from it because they're benefiting. The benefit really comes down to you. You're not thinking about their benefit. So when you say everybody could use my product, sure, anybody can use a mug. Sure, anybody could use your skincare. Sure, anybody could do these things. But in order to actually speak to somebody and their problems and the major benefits that it has, you need to know who you're speaking to and understand the major overall benefit of your product as a whole. Next is thinking big for your business. If you're here and you're like, Maddie, I've got big old goals, okay? Your girl's got some big old goals. I want to retire my husband. I want to hit 6 figures, multiple 6 figures. Like, I want this thing to be full time. I want a team. I want to see this in stores. Like, I want my product in people's homes. Then you're thinking of yourself as a brand, my friend. Why that is because you're thinking of longevity. You're thinking big, and you're not holding yourself back because of it just being this small little business, this small little side hustle. When people think of themselves small, they hold themselves small. When you're like, nope, I'm a side hustle. Nope, this is a hobby of mine. Like I just said, a lot of small businesses turn their hobbies into a business to hopefully just supplement either some of their supply costs or whatever. Small businesses are looking at this as just a side hustle, as just making it a couple of extra bucks, whereas a brand really wants to make this last, and they're thinking of it, okay, how can I really make this unique? How can I make this different? How can I make this show-stopping? Brands want things to be different. Brands want things to last. Brands want things to be unique. Why? Because they want to stand out in the marketplace. They're looking at data. They're looking at analytics, and they're saying, okay, where can we stand out? What can we do in order to actually disrupt this industry? A brand a lot of times really focuses on that major meaning, that major purpose behind the brand. Maybe it's a major story that you have of why you created that business. A brand has a story. A small business, again, is just pushing sales and product over everything else. They're trying to make that quick buck. They're trying to push their earrings. They're trying to push all of this stuff going out. And then it's like, okay, perfect. You're pushing your sales. You're pushing your product. You're saying how great your product is. And you are showing all of the features of that. That's awesome. However, is there any deeper meaning there? Is there a deeper benefit that people are seeing? Is there a feeling? What is there that's deeper behind it? Do you have a purpose behind your brand deeper than just trying to make a quick buck or supplement some income? Again, there's nothing wrong with you just trying to sell some of your crochet or selling some of the things that you're making one of your hobbies in order to just make an extra $1,000 a month. That's admirable, honestly. And if you can do that, I commend you. I love that idea for you. But if you are trying to make yourself a brand and that is how you're thinking of yourself right now, we need to switch that mindset. Okay. Looking a little bit deeper here is brands a lot of times are willing to invest in something to make it the best. They're willing to book a full-on photo shoot. They're willing to invest in the strategy or the templates or the industry knowledge, the entrepreneurial IQ, because they know that it's something that they need in order to make their business the best it's ever been, to make it that show-stopping, that trailblazing. If you're really saying, no, I want this to be incredible, and somebody says, okay, well, I can take some incredible photos for you that'll really stand out. And you're like, no, probably not. Unless you're a photographer and you can make some awesome product photos at home, but you're saying, I'm okay just binging what I have in front of me. I'm okay just taking pictures on my floor in my living room for right now, because that's what I got. And that's not to say that anybody that's just taking pictures of themselves is thinking of themselves as a small business. I have a lot of brands that I work with that take some incredible product photos at their house with their phone with some construction paper. That's totally okay, and that's still operating as a brand. What I'm saying more so is that they value investing in their business in order to make it the best. If they know that taking product photos is not one of their strong suits, then they outsource it. If they know they could be better with building their community online, they try to figure out, they hire the specialist to help them build that community. If they know their emails could be better, they're getting a copywriter to come in and look for it. Why? Because people that own brands realize that they are not great at absolutely everything, that there are some people out there that have different zones of geniuses, and that's okay. And so brands are looking at their business as, okay, where are my gaps and how can I fill that with other people? Small businesses are just okay getting by. They're like, I'll DIY it. I can get by. They need to make more money before they invest in it because that doesn't make sense. I have a lot of brands that are like, Maddie, I wasn't ready to make this investment, but I'm doing it because I know that you can make me the person that I want to become. You can help me get there, even though I'm not making sales to cover this. And that's something I hear a lot. Is people are like, I'm not making enough sales in my business to cover the cost of this yet. But that's exactly the reason why you would invest in something or somebody that could help you make those sales. And so they're not afraid of that risk of being like, this might not be great. I don't know. There's a lot of uncertainty here, but I'm going to make darn well sure that I'm going to do everything in my power in order to make this something that I execute fully. And that's great. And that's awesome. Brands can really easily expand and scale because they have built their business from a point of meaning and not just off of their product. But when a product, like when a small business comes to me and they're like, Maddie, I want to scale. And I'm like, well, all you've talked about is how great your sweaters are or how great your skincare is. So now it's hard to adapt because the only reason people buy from you is because because you've told them how great your product is. It's not that you've actually built a community around anything. Small businesses they have a very specific product that they're selling, and that's all that they're pushing. Whereas a brand can scale and expand really easily because they've focused on a meaning or a deeper value or a shared value with their community that then they can expand into other things and still root it back to that shared value, and it'll all be the same. Brands take time and effort into investing into themselves, whether it's reading a book or whether it's massages or building their entrepreneurial IQ or knowing and understanding that them as a person, as the brand owner, really needs to invest back into themselves, to work out in the morning, to get good sleep, to do certain things in order for them to show up properly. They can easily expand and scale because they've actually taken the time in order to build their entrepreneurial IQ, to fill their own cup, to have like the self-care or the routines that really make sense for them. Small businesses a lot of times try to work until 1:00 in the morning. They're full of questions and comparison, and they're just doing what everybody else is doing because they feel like they need to do it. Small businesses work out of a lot of obligation, not because they want to be the absolute best that they can be. They work a lot out of obligation. Brands a lot of times focus a little bit more on growth and community building and purpose behind the brand, whereas small businesses marketing out of obligation and because it has to be done. Small business brands see that, okay, if I post these things and I make this purpose and I tell this story, people will buy. They'll hear the legacy, they'll hear the purpose, they'll hear the meaning behind my brand, whereas a small business is like, I gotta make content today because then nobody will buy my product unless I make content. So we have to look at it deeper than that. Deeper than just out of an obligation. It's not obligatory for you to have to make content. It should be, oh my gosh, I get to use this free social media platform that gets out to thousands of people every day. That's incredible. That's so cool. They see it as an obligation because as a point of growth, as a point of community, as a free marketing platform that you can use, whereas small businesses really see social media as this hindrance that they have to do in order to sell their product. Because again, it's because they're just trying to make a quick buck. They're just trying to monetize their hobby, to keep going in their hobby. They didn't do it so they had to market and do everything else. Small businesses are trying to make some quick cash. Brands are trying to get this to last because they believe in their product. Brands are creating content with variety. They're talking about their values. They're educating their audience. They're having fun with their audience. They have personality in there. They're talking about a lot of things, whereas small businesses are using audios about how much marketing sucks and how they hate doing reels. If you've been in my world for a while, you know I absolutely despise the audios that are like, oh my God, I'm a business owner, which means I have to make content. Here's a video. No brand out there stood out by making that content. Could they maybe have gone viral because it was a trending audio and gained 5,000 followers? Sure. They were pity followers. Why? Because a lot of these audios are like, my small business is failing. I need people to come and do these things. And I get that if that's really the case, that's one thing. But there's a lot of businesses out there that are using trending audios about their business failing, and it's not even the case for their business. They're just using it because it's trending and it's working for people. However, those are pity sales. They're people that are just out of obligation. The energetics even behind those types of sales should feel icky to you if people are buying because they think that your business is failing and that you absolutely need this amount of sales. There's a lot of trending audios going on with that right now. And honestly, you're not building a brand that's going to last if you're using those. It's just not going to happen. They're my biggest ick of 2023 are those damn audios. I hate them. I hate very, very few things, and I hate them. Why? Because they're literally putting you all the way back. Again, they're making the product around you and how they need to support you as the business owner, and it's not around the actual meaning and purpose behind the brand. Again, I get it. If you have X, Y, and Z go wrong in your life and you're like, hey guys, this is uncomfortable for me, but my business is my full-time gig and I just had all this stuff go down, that I fully understand. Something like that happens, okay. However, again, we're not trying to make all of these purchases about you and how it's supporting you and how it's your brand. We can have connection to you, but the major overall goal is to get people to really have shared values, to connect with each other based off of their benefit or the meaning behind your brand or the empowerment that they feel when they put your product on. And so brands really focus on the deeper meaning and the shared value behind their community. They focus on strategy. They focus on understanding, being a solid business owner, understanding that they need strategy behind some of these things, understanding a lot of wide variety of what that is. They outsource when they need to. They really value that those visuals matter. They're willing to pay for the product photography or whatever that is in order to make it look the best. Whereas small businesses tend to think a little smaller about what they're doing. Small businesses want it to make some quick cash, whereas brands really want this to last and they believe in their product as something that could really change the industry. In everything I teach people how to become brands. And why that is because I think being a small business can be a little bit more intuitive, but I want to work with people that are going to put the work in to have this be a brand. Why? Because that means that they want to be here for longevity. So when stuff gets hard, when it gets tough, when you're like, oh my gosh, this kind of sucks right now, they're willing to keep on going because they'll see the bigger picture and the bigger legacy that it has. If you're saying, oh my gosh, Maddie, I really want to be a brand, but I am operating as a small business owner, that's okay. That means that you can adjust. If you're saying some of these things, I want to be a brand, some of these things, I'm okay being a small business owner, again, that's okay. There's no right or wrong. If you're like, no, Maddie, I really am here to make some quick cash, honestly, I commend you, and that's incredible. Because when you need to make some quick cash, it's nice to know that you can make some quick cash. And that's great. However, what I really enjoy teaching is how to become this lifelong brand, this legacy brand, this full-time job, this big old thing that you can be in stores and you can be here and you can be there. Why that is because, again, there's a sense of grit about it. There's a sense of adversity that people are overcoming. And that's so important when you are a business owner, is not seeing failures as you're seeing them as gaps in the strategy that you can then fill. And so if you are like Maddie, I'm here and I'm a small business owner, but I really want to be a brand. I want to have better visuals. I want to have content that makes sense. I want to show up and have like the community out there. I have all of those values, but I just haven't known how to execute it. I would love to guide you through that. You would be perfect for Product to Profit. PTP is my signature program to help you get to consistent sales by building that ride or die community around your brand on social media. I really teach you how to become a brand, how to think like a brand, how to have this marketing brain that allows you to see everything as, okay, what season of business am I in? What actions do I need to take in order to get there? And how do I really go from A to B, B to C, C to D, D to E, as opposed to looking, okay, I got to go A to Z and I have no idea how to do this. And so inside of Product to Profit, I teach you how to focus really strongly on your social and build a super magnetic online presence, have a connection with your audience so that you build a ride or die community around your brand, and then what it takes and to actually get you to consistent sales. I have had clients 25 times their income in 4 months inside of this program. I have had dozens of people quit their 9-to-5, and those are people that want to be brands. They're people just like you that are like, Maddie, I'm done playing small. I'm done wanting this to just be a hobby. I want this thing to last, and I want this thing to pay off because I see it being possible. If that is you, then girlfriend, click the link in the show notes, apply for PTP. We start in January, and our next round, we're going all in for 2024. We're starting mid-January, and when I tell you that we already have 7 people inside of this as I'm recording this, we will be selling out. I like to keep these intimate. I like to keep them small so you can get a lot of personalized feedback. This is me and you working together in your business, creating custom growth plans, coming up with ideas of really how to make your brand this standout trailblazing brand that you want it to be. And that is what PTP is all about. We identify that meaning or that purpose if you don't have it. We figure out content that really works, as well as we look at how we can build this ride or die community that will literally be like, we ride at dawn, we're here, we will be there to buy. Credit cards in hand, I can't wait for it. That is what we build inside of Product to Profit. You will learn all of the necessary strategies that you need in order to make that happen for you. If that's something that you're excited about, you're like, Maddie, after this, I'm here. I'm ready to be a brand. I know it's possible for me. I know my product is awesome, and I want it in the hands of a lot of people. That's incredible. Click the link in the show notes, apply for PTP, or come on over to me on Instagram at thisismadisonpaige, and you can DM me PTP, and we can start chatting about it and make sure that you are a good fit. But if you're really looking to finally make 2024 the year that you make this your year, you make yourself this brand owner, this business owner, you have the consistent sales, you're able to go full time, girlfriend, this is where you need to be. This is the program that has done it for dozens of people, and it can do it for you too. So I hope that you enjoyed this episode. Again, I do this episode because I think it's important to notice your mindset. Like I said, notice which ones you are operating as small business when you want to be brand, and how you need to make some of those adjustments, or which ones you're like, no, Maddie, I'm okay thinking this way about it, and that's all right. I'm not here to tell you your way of thinking is wrong. I'm just trying to tell you, here's your goals. Let's match up to these goals in different ways in that sense as well. So I'm just here to give you some tough love, to maybe give you some strategies that you need to focus on, to give you some areas that might not be your strong suit that you can still develop, and to give you support if you need it. If you're like, Maddie, I want more support. I'm an avid podcast listener. I love you. I binge your podcast, but I want more. I want your eyes in my business so we can do this together. I'm here for you. DM me PTP on Instagram at thisismadisonpaige, and we'll get you all situated and make sure that you lock a spot in before it sells out. Like I said, I only take up to like 15 people in this program. We already have 7, and we haven't even started launching it yet. So I'm going to start talking about it because I know a lot of people really want to have it. And I guess this is coming out in a week and a half. So who knows how many people we're at this point. So I hope that you found this podcast helpful. Make sure that you are subscribed. We put out new episodes every Tuesday and Friday. There's a lot of other episodes out there about how to become a brand, how to stand out, all of those different things. So make sure that you go and binge some of those. Make sure you're subscribed, you're followed, and if you haven't yet, go watch us on YouTube. People are loving the YouTube channel because it makes it where you can actually have a conversation with me. Honestly, sometimes I feel like now that I'm talking to the camera, that people actually miss out if you aren't watching the video because you don't get to see some of my hand movements, some of what I'm talking about. I'm Italian, I speak with my hands, so we're having a lot of fun. I know I don't look Italian, but it's in there somewhere. I like my pizza. My last name is Giordano. It's down there, so we have a lot of fun on YouTube as well. The link for the YouTube channel is in the show notes as well. Make sure that you subscribe and check it out. Let me know if you ever have any questions. You know I am here for you. I love you. I'm rooting for you, and I'm in your corner always.